You know, sometimes I've found myself eyeing other people's onion rings in restaurants and thinking, God, that looks so good, but I can't order it because it has like 1,000 calories. Well, not anymore. I got my own stash. These Za'atar onion rings are going on and they're all mine. And I'm eating the whole thing, and I'm gonna teach you how to make your whole thing too. So stick around on Feast in the Middle East. In response to all of you that said you want fusion recipes, today it's all about you. Now, being an Arab American, I love crossing cultures. You know, I love my Arab heritage and my American heritage, and I thought what better way to do that than with Za'atar onion rings, because you get that zesty spice from the Za'atar flavored with crunchy onion rings. And I used a panko breadcrumbs to make them super crunchy so that when you bake them in the oven, you don't feel like you're missing out. You don't feel like you have to deep fry them to enjoy them, so you can eat more of them. Isn't that amazing? And of course, I'm going to be dipping them in a special sauce that I showed you how to make in my previous video. But I'm gonna take you in my kitchen to show you how you make these ZONION rings. I guess we could call them ZONION rings, Za'atar onion rings. Okay, now let's start making the onion rings. Of course, we have to start with an onion. Now, I put my onions in the freezer for about 10 minutes because I don't wanna cry all over the onion as I prepare it. So we're just gonna cut and peel the onion first before we slice it up into rings. All right, so I finished separating all of the onion rings, and what we're gonna do is put them in a buttermilk bath. This will allow the coating to stick properly. I recommend actually leaving the onions in here for a good hour or two before working with it, just so that the buttermilk is really absorbed by all the onions. If you're vegan and don't want to use buttermilk, you could use about 1.5 cups of almond milk mixed with 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar. It'll kind of have a similar effect. So we've got this, we're gonna soak it for about half an hour at least, but that'll give me time to take care of the coating, and the coating is gonna be magnificent because it's gonna have za'atar. So here I have a whole cup of flour. You could use gluten-free flour too if you want to. I'm going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, and a good tablespoon of za'atar. Actually, let's dump the whole thing. Let's put 2 tablespoons of za'atar in there because I can never get enough of that stuff. And some salt and pepper. Good amount of salt and some pepper. This is gonna make that zesty coating for our onion rings. So I'm gonna combine all of this together. And I'm also going to use panko breadcrumbs, and panko is great if you want to have really crunchy, crispy onion rings without deep frying it. So panko is available in most supermarkets, so we've got panko coating. We have one more component to our onion rings, and that is eggs. So I've got a couple of eggs here that I'm going to crack and combine. Basically, these onion rings are going to have 2 coatings to them. We're gonna have the flour coating and we're going to have the panko coating. And it'll make it nice, thick, and crunchy, so you really won't miss that fried flavor when you have these 2 kinds of coatings stuck to the onion rings. And again, if you are vegan, use a flax egg instead. So the onion rings have now been soaking in the buttermilk. And what we're gonna do is basically coat the onion rings with the flour, the seasoned flour that has the za'atar and all that good stuff in it, right? So just, you know, coat it. If you don't wanna get your hands messy, this is a great way to do it with some tongs here. So, and then after that, we are going to take the same onion rings and douse them in the egg mixture like this. Do like a couple at a time. Make sure they're fully coated with the egg, just like that. And then what we're gonna do is douse that with the panko. The panko crumbs right here, 1, Me too. So I'm going to show you on a large scale before I just go to town and do all of these onion rings and lay them on a cookie sheet before baking them in the oven. So see, look at how nice that looks. They look like legit onion rings, don't they? So we're gonna bake these at 450 degrees for about 10 minutes. Keep an eye on them. You want them to be golden brown. So I've got all I need. I've got my summertime treat onion ring, and I'm gonna dip it in some harissa paste, because why not? Because it's kind of like the ketchup of North Africa, right? So look at that. Isn't that yummy? Mmm. Unlike any kind of onion ring you've ever tasted. Oh, it's so good. The thing about these onion rings is make sure you eat them hot right out of the oven. Like, don't let them sit around and then eat them later. As you have your next barbecue and make some Zonion rings, think of me, okay guys? And if you want more fusion recipes, leave them in the comments below. Hit that bell next to my name so you can get new videos as soon as I upload them. And thank you to my Patreons for supporting this channel. Without you, I couldn't devote the countless hours in experimenting, recipe editing, writing, shooting, the whole 9 yards. You guys help make it happen. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and happy summer. All right, guys. See you next time on Feast of the Middle East. Za'atar.